Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. This is great advice, but only works if you know who your enemies are. For Michael Malloy, an Irish immigrant to New York, a group of close friends turned out to be a gang of diabolical criminals, interested only in seeing Malloy dead and collecting on fraudulent life insurance policies. Little did they know when they hatched their get-rich-quick scheme that they were not dealing with an ordinary man, but with Iron Mike, or Mike the Durable as he would later be known, a man who seemed to be invincible. If you were living in New York in the 1930s, you were suffering through the Great Depression, Prohibition, and bread lines that were growing longer every day. Mike Malloy had moved from Ireland to New York in the 1920s and worked as a firefighter for a while. But times were very tough and he lost his job, and unable to find work, Mike's life started slipping down a pretty steep slope, and he wound up homeless and an alcoholic. Mike spent his time hanging around a local speakeasy, where he would drink and mingle with a group of local guys. Tony Marino, the speakeasy owner, Joseph Red Murphy, a bartender, Francis Pasqua, an undertaker, and Daniel Kreisberg, a grocer. Mike would regularly drink until he passed out and had stopped paying his bar tab. He tried to do small odd jobs for credit on booze, but was drinking way more than he could ever repay. One fateful day in mid-1932, Tony Marino was complaining about Mike to his pals Francis Pasqua and Daniel Kreisberg. Francis suggested they take out life insurance on Mike. Francis knew that Tony had been successful once before in getting a policy issued on a homeless woman and collecting a payout as her beneficiary after he caused her death. Tony, Francis, and Daniel agreed, thought they had a good plan, and decided to move forward. After watching Mike drink himself into oblivion once more, they probably thought this would be quick, easy money. It took Francis several months to secure 3 life insurance policies, totaling just over $3,500, which is the equivalent to roughly $85,000 today, a good payday by anybody's standards. In January of 1933, the group, now including the bartender Joseph Murphy, put their plan into action. Murder plot number 1 was to cause Mike's death by inducing alcohol poisoning. Tony told Mike he could drink for free, as much as he could handle. Mike was thrilled. This was fantastic news, and he bellied up to the bar and drank, and drank, and drank for most of the day. This reportedly went on for a couple of days. The conspirators grew frustrated and moved on to murder plot number 2, simple poisoning. They added antifreeze to the liquor. Mike kept drinking. They added wood alcohol. Mike kept drinking. They added turpentine. Mike kept drinking. They added rat poison, and you guessed it, Mike kept drinking. They gave up. Time for a new plan. This exercise was becoming expensive. Murder plot number 3 was to poison him with food. They offered Mike raw oysters soaked in either methanol or ethanol. Reporting mentions both substances, and either way, both are toxic and not for human consumption. Mike enjoyed the meal. Later, they served him a sandwich, stacked with spoiled sardines, soaked in poison, and filled with metal fragments, possibly carpet tacks. Mike ate the whole sandwich. Murder plot number 4 was death by hypothermia. One icy night, after drinking until he passed out, the men took Mike into a park and tossed him into a snowdrift. They then poured gallons of water over his chest and left him there to freeze. Much to the surprise of the gang, Mike returned to the speakeasy the following day. Murder plot number 5 was a hit and run. They hired Hershey Green, a taxi driver, to assist. Again, after a night of drinking, they took Mike out onto the street and ran him down, hitting him with Green's taxi at over 45 miles per hour. They assumed he was dead and raced away from the scene. Several days later, after a stint in hospital, being treated for broken bones, Mike arrived back at the speakeasy with a vague story about whiskey, a cold night, and bright lights coming towards him. Finally, on February 22, 1933, after Mike had passed out drunk, he was taken to Murphy's room. They connected a hose to the gas outlet and put it in his mouth. Mike Malloy succumbed to the gas in this final attempt. The group were able to get Dr. Frank Manzella to sign a death certificate, citing lobar pneumonia as the cause of death. They arranged for a quick burial and attempted to collect on the policies. When authorities heard about the death of Mike the Durable Malloy, they had the body exhumed and forensically examined. The investigation identified all 5 men as being involved in his murder. They were all arrested and tried. Green, the taxi driver, was convicted of attempted murder and sentenced to 10 years. The other 4, Murphy, Kreisberg, Marino, and Pasqua, were sentenced to death and sent to the electric chair at Sing Sing prison in 1934. In the end, the only thing stronger than Mike Malloy's thirst was his sheer will to live. But for his so-called friends, greed proved to be their undoing. If there's a lesson to take from this tale, it's that betrayal often backfires, and those who plot against others may end up digging their own graves. If you enjoyed the amazing true story of Mike Malloy, please like and subscribe to get more unbelievable stories of incredible people.